Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Meraj Kidwai, and you're watching Vertex, the solution of every need. I hope you all are doing wonderfully well, taking care of yourself and your loved ones, and not going out in the public without wearing a mask. To know more about me, please go and check out the website, that is www.vertexthesolution.com, to find more details about me. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to talk about in this video, I've already spoke about this topic earlier as well in general, but I would like to emphasize on this topic in this particular video and would like to give some insights and inputs through the lens of psychology about emotional regulation disorder, or what is emotional regulation. Well, emotional regulation, as the name suggests itself, that an ability or skill to manage a person's or an individual's emotions in a proper way, or I would say more effectively. So what does it implies to? For example, you're able to manage the emotions that you feel, for example, of fear, anger, sadness, grief, love, happiness, excitement, in a way which is is helping you to function um, properly or in a healthy way. Feeling emotions is a good thing. It's a sign of good health. If you're feeling emotions of fear, of sadness, of grief, when you lose a loved one, suppose through natural death or something like that, so you feel sorrow, you feel sadness, you're grieving over your loss. So it is a sign of healthy healthy emotions, or good health of an individual. So feeling emotions is extremely important. It is very, very essential for our personality, and for us as an individual, for our healthy way of living, and for a healthy lifestyle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is a disorder called as emotional regulation disorder, where you are unable to manage your emotions. For example, passive aggressive behavior, anger issues, extreme outburst of anger where you're unable to cope up with a sudden emotion which creates a lot of anxiety in you, or a lot of anger in you, which makes you react in a it makes you react in a way, suppose in a violent way, physical violence or verbal violence, or you are creating verbal abuse or emotional abuse on somebody. So this is known as emotional regulation disorder, where you are unable to manage your emotions. So how to cope up with this? Now, in our day-to-day life, whether personal or professional life, we do feel the highs and lows of our emotions at times, and it is important for us to regulate our emotions in a healthy way, that is, maintain or manage our emotions in a healthy way. At times it happens that probably best of your friendships gets break up, or broke up in the past as well. For example, you're a very good friend, some friend in a college, and that friend betrays you, and you feel hurted somehow, or because of any difference of opinion you separate your ways, or any such reason. I'm just trying to give you some examples to make you understand with the situation, and you feel hurted, right? And you are unable to manage that hurt, and you start reacting in a way which is not healthy in any such way for others and for yourself as well, and your behavior develops into toxicity, or you completely shut off emotions and you do not feel emotions anymore, or you do not believe in investing in relationships, friendships, or romantic relationships, or any sort of a relationship. So somewhere there is an underlying issue which may create further psychological issues or mental health issues in an individual, not in you, I'm saying it specifically, but I'm trying to explain this, what is emotional regulation disorder, or what is emotional regulation. So it is very important for an individual to develop coping skills. Okay, how to cope up with different situations. Now, it's important. Number one thing for coping skill is uh, to self care, to love yourself. Okay, accept it, accept your emotion of grief, of sorrow, of sadness, of love, of if you get hurted emotionally from somebody, accept it, admit it, that this situation had happened or this has happened, and probably write it down. If you can write it down, that is a wonderful way of journaling about it, whatever you have gone through or you are going through, and try to accept it and remain calm at that point of time. Understand yourself, understand your emotional emotional health at that point of time. You can seek therapists guidance or an advice. You can seek counseling sessions as well, in case if you're unable to regulate your emotions or control your emotions by yourself, and you do require a guidance. Sometimes, for example, if it turns out to be really violent, it turns out to be in physical abuse or emotional abuse to someone or to yourself as well, you can go for a counseling session. Of course, it will help. For example, anger management sessions do happen when people get really angry on somebody or on themselves, and perhaps they get angry on people who are not responsible for anything, and you're just putting out your anger on on someone because of somebody. So this all happens because of some sort of an anxiety and stress, and it is very common, ladies and gentlemen. It happens with everyone. It happened with, I think, with me, with you, and it is a day-to-day life situation. So we need to understand that with time we must get ourselves educated as much as we can and able to manage our emotions effectively. We all are human beings, right? And it is good to feel emotions, it is good to feel hurted, it is good to feel sad, it is good to feel grief, it is good to feel to be in love with someone, with yourself, with your mother, with your father, with a spouse, with your children, with a dog, with a cat, with your neighbor, with anybody in the society. It is good, it's a good thing, it's a healthy way of life. And at times, when we don't get reciprocated emotionally as well, we feel sometimes hurted as well, or because of what we expected, our expectations didn't or turn the way we want them to. Sometimes, probably we want to control the situations, maybe in a positive way as well. So it didn't happen that way. So we need to understand that we should accept it, we should write about it, and uh, try to understand what is the current feeling. When you understand how you're feeling right now, okay, you're able to plan up or strategize how can you cope up with that feeling. For example, if you are feeling lonely, if you're feeling sad or having a bit of anxiety, you need to understand that how you're feeling right now. You're feeling lonely, try to write about your feelings and invest your time into something which makes you happy, probably uh, just to distract your thought from that feeling of loneliness. For example, reading a good book or listening to some music, or having a walk, or going to the day spa, or going for shopping, or whatever you like. Okay, because I'm not saying that this only happens with particular group of people. It can happen with anyone. We all are humans, right? And we should take it as as it is, without you know uh, taking into any other direction. For example, blowing things out of proportion. So it happens, and we must accept it, we must admit it, and try to work on it by analyzing it, by analyzing and observing our own self, our own emotions. And this is what is called as emotional intelligence also. So emotional balance is very, very important. What is balance? Balance is, for example, let's take a very minute example here, and then I will explain it from my example as well. When I was much younger, around 16, 17-year old, I was not very patient. I was a very impatient person. And, probably with time, with more education I received, I became more patient, or with more experiences, I became more patient. So at times, as I'm in education, and it happens that when we are dealing with children, and children asks a lot of questions to you, probably they make a lot of mistakes also. So you need to be patient with yourself, love yourself first, and then only you can understand the child as well. Because when you can give up some love to yourself, then only you are able to understand others as well. So give some empathy to yourself, and then you can put yourself into other people's or other person's shoes, probably as a teacher in the shoes of the child, that from his perspective or her perspective, from his lens of viewing anything, or understanding, or probably understanding a perspective, and probably a mistake is a sign of learning, is a sign of growing for that child. So you need to feel empathy for yourself, then only you can feel empathy for others. That if a person has made a mistake, so that means the person is learning something, that person is growing, the brain is growing of the child. And this is how we uh, you know exhibit the process of learning, and this is how we make errors. As humans, we make mistakes, and then this is how we learn. So rather than scolding the child for a little bit of errors or mistakes what they do, or embarrassing them, praise them that they made a mistake, they made an effort to learn something, and they made a mistake, they will learn from that mistake, and they will improve their knowledge and upgrade themselves. And this is how the growth mindset will also develop of the child. So this is just an example of how to react towards anything, uh, how to take up anything, how to understand situations and people around you. And this is how you're able to create some kind of emotional balance in yourself as well, ladies and gentlemen. So it's very important to understand that how can you cope up with certain situations. So here you need to have a lot of patience, and probably giving some more time to yourself as well as to the other individual to understand the situation here, and probably put some more effort, or probably changing the strategy to get the desired outcome as well. And for that you need to understand what your emotion is right now. Probably you have put a lot of effort into something, and still you didn't get the desired outcome. So probably your strategy you need to change a little bit, that suits you and that other person as well. So this is what is all about, how you effectively manage and accept the situation and your own emotions, as well as also trying to give some room or space to another individual to understand you as well, and work things out in an effective manner, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope I brought some insights with this example and in this short video on emotional regulation and emotional regulation disorder. Stay in touch, keep subscribing, and keep liking us, and please share these videos as well with your loved ones, with your family members and your friends around, so that we can make this society a much better place by educating people on human psychology and educating the young minds as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great day.